But we all have a soul, whether we like it or not, whether we've ever heard of that concept or not, it's part of us. It is who we are. That part of us that is a soul often talks to us in our dreams. It gives us those messages, it gives us intuition. It is that part that has created miracles where, say, a person was not supposed to survive under terrible circumstances, and they did. It is also that part that helps us on our journey back. And I mean that once we have, from a human perspective, died, but in that world, the soul world, there is no such thing as death. There is what is called a transition. And that is something I help people with. It is really shifting your awareness from one dimension to the next. And the next dimension is the one I wanted to talk about a little bit more today. That next dimension is not something to be feared. It is something where we already exist, but we don't know it. And what became crystal clear to me the other day, 2 days ago, is when I was talking to such a large audience, is that most people really don't understand what soul means. The word soul is obviously used in all sorts of ways these days, and sometimes right and sometimes not. But your soul is the intrinsic part of you, that part of you what you are. I didn't know all that myself a number of years ago, but I had all these experiences that showed me that there was something there that was part of me, and I just did not quite know what that was. There was a time where I, for example, thought everything was perhaps an angel. But I realized that there was one part, and it took a while to understand, that was always with me, no matter what. And it was actually part of my own soul awareness, my soul. And that part has clarified a lot for me. That is the part that helps me with the healing. And that soul part knows every other soul that is on the planet, theoretically, if that person talks to me or makes a connection with me. Because souls in those dimensions, they don't have any boundaries. And I have to say that to take a little bit of the mystical aspect of the soul away. So we have what you could call a higher dimension and a lower dimension. And let's say that our three-dimensional world, which is the world that for us is real. Let's use those words in human terms. That real world, so to speak, that we are living in, where everything feels solid and everything has a particular outcome. You know, you drive a car, you go to work. That is one aspect of what that soul in its totality might be experiencing or would like to experience. It's like the experience we're now having as a collective on this call. In this reality where you can hear my voice, it's a three-dimensional reality. We're talking as individualized aspects of your soul, you could call it. I was going to say human beings, which is what the word is that we normally use, but it's an individualized aspect of your soul. And that individualized aspect is here to understand something. It didn't just drop in for no reason at all. It came in for a specific reason. And I'm waiting as I speak because there's a really deep understanding flowing to the group. What I say is actually not new, and at the deepest level, a lot of people often know it. And then we forget. We get very busy with the kids, with work, with life. But a lot of people, the feedback I was getting from this interview, which was a little bit like a group call, but obviously it's also an interview, it was like you were talking directly to me. And when that happens, it is because the soul makes contact with the other soul. in those dimensions that we personally do not necessarily consciously connect into. Now, I have now what I call a permanent connection from those higher dimensions to this human version of myself, but it was not always the case. But in those moments, at a time when it wasn't always, well, it was there, but it wasn't, because my reality had to shift to understand all this first. It was usually through prayer that I had the strongest connections. And it was initially through prayer that I had incredible, what you would call, shifts and miracles happening. But it was also at the time that I didn't understand it, it went right back to my soul. While I speak, I'm hearing a lot of issues are being cleared because of this misunderstanding of what I do. So what I really aim at doing is helping as many people as possible reach their own soul awareness, to become more of who they really are. And also, if possible, to become the highest, next best version of yourself, but only in this now moment, because we are always changing.